Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal of Krondor. Well, last time you remember, we found Pug, and we are still exploring the ruins of the desert world, well now it's a desert, of Timur, whatchamacall this place. And we already looted this crystal pile. I mean to infer no rudeness, but where is our destination? We must find my daughter Gamina. In my current state, I am unable to reach her mind. I know not of your travels, but I was not able to complete my search. Then we shall continue our random wanderings? I have no desire for our search to be random. Assistance may lie to the north at the Pillar of Datsavan, Lord of the Gates. While trapped, I found my mind focusing there. We know the pillar of which you speak. Then lead the way, my friend. Yeah, just in case you're curious about where to go. And yeah, Pug, not much of a physical fighter. And I'll go ahead and have him run off to one side just to test something in a moment. Okay, so we're still missing one spell here, which I'm pretty sure I know what that one is. Got two missing off this list. Got a few missing off this list, but I think that's because we don't have Night Fingers or the items we need, and that one we got all filled up. Okay, apparently we can't just use... Nothing happened. Examining further, Pug realized his staff of Macross would not function on this strange island. Okay, so we won't be able to use that until later. Oh, another staff, if we did not have one already. But we found this grove before, apparently. Pug studied the column. When he had visited the site at Karzeen previously, he had sensed the sentience that radiated from them, but had been unaware of the true nature of the beings who inhabited them. Stepping forward, he made a slight bow. "Greetings, cousins of the Allah," he said. "I regret that I had not recognized you on my first visit. My apologies. It was only during the time I was in the tent that something the Oracle spoke of once occurred to me." "Apologies are needed for such as we, Savane, but we accept your tribute. Your safety was greatly prized by Macross." Pug nodded. "He's been a true friend to me, only as one other has ever been. It is an honor that he prized me so highly. I sometimes wonder that he will ever stop protecting me." "You have not come to waste thanks upon us," one called Pug. "What do you wish from the gods of Tirmiana?" "I came here in search of my daughter Gamina. A magician, a savane by your terms, brought her here against her will. It is important that I find her and return her to my home to avert a possible catastrophe. Forces are gathering to tamper with the Life Stone." For a moment there was silence, then only motion in the air made by the rasp of the sands moving in the deserts. Then, quite abruptly, Datson's voice returned. "Your daughter is caged by Tanaf Tienden. They believe her an omen that Alma Lodak has heard their pleas, and is preparing the way for her return." "Is she in any danger?" Pug asked. "Is there something you may do for her?" "No," Datsun replied. "Such as my powers once were, they are limited. part of the price we pay for our continued existence. You exhausted your essence when you crystallized the mana to drive off the Valheru. When their magical abilities seemed to begin to wane, they assumed they had tapped them on the planet dry and moved on. Your speculations are deaf, Savane, but the gods of Tirmiana are not yet dead. We will abide until the time comes when we either sleep, or until we can be reborn through these children of the Holocaust. Perhaps once they have forgotten Almalodak and the rest of the Valheru, they can mature in their own ways. Pug accepted the information calmly, then began to turn to leave, then halted. Has Makala placed any special spells around her? I am very limited in my abilities at present. Seek the old hordes of the Valheru. They may be something to assist you. Farewell, Pug. Datsavan shall speak no more. Okay, well, very helpful, chatty call on that. And now that we have a full party, we will begin touching the rest of the columns, because some of these columns can give you great blessings. Other columns can give you a great curse. And yes, I am in fact restructuring my stats for a reason. So we'll touch the first column. Actually, I'll save to make sure I'm not messing this up. The pillar was smooth to his touch. Towering over Pug, it seemed to be made of an exquisite crystal of some fashion, though it was wholly unlike anything he had ever seen on Mechemia. Through it, he could see refracted images of a desert beyond, but when he varied the angle at which he held his head, it seemed as though he could see other places which were not on the other side of the column. Instead, it seemed they were images of the oceans and skies in other colors. Your observations intrigue me. You are a Savane, are you not? Startled at the presence of the alien sentience in his mind, Pug shook his head. Unsure whether he should simply think his reply or speak out loud, he decided that speaking would be the safest route. I'm not familiar with the term Savane, so I don't know if I'm one or not. Who am I communicating with? Well, actually, Pug did know the term earlier. That's because they kind of assume that you'll start touching all the columns as Owen when he's in command of the party, but the way this is written, whoever the party leader is takes the lead on it. But anyway, who am I communicating with? Nearby, Pug threw Gorath threw Pug a startled glance, apparently alarmed that his friend was speaking to the air. Before Pug could rattle off an exclamation, the voice in his mind returned. I am Sutakame, mother of the thousand mysteries, once goddess of Tirmiana. You have summoned me. What do you desire to know? I'm not sure what you're asking, Owen said. Are you an oracle? No, the voice replied. I may only tell you that which is already known, though I dimly perceive things that may come to be. I sense that you are newly come to this world. Perhaps you would desire to see something of the creatures who inhabit the desolation of our world. Suddenly, Pug's mind reeled with visions of men with scales rather than skin, and large hulking creatures with shining caparaces which roamed the deserts. Grasping to retain what he had learned about the creatures as the information flooded through his mind like a tide, he at last seized upon an image of a wispy figure. What are these things I see? Pug asked. They look like they're made of smoke. These are the ancient servants of Relin Scar, the last priests of Datsavan before the desolation. Creatures of magic, they can only be killed by special spells, which drain directly from their materiality, their strength. Now they still wander the ruins of Datsavan's ancient temple. For a moment the image wavered, then stabilized once more. I must rest. I am needed elsewhere. And because we prepared, our assessment is now at 100%, 67, and Pug's was already, or Gorath's was already rather high. You'd expect the greatest magician in the world to have a higher defense than 40%, but oh well. Anyway, if we bothered with assessment, we would have very good assessment at this point. Anyway, next pillar, the third one, if you go left to right from the front row, and save to make sure I'm not screwing this one up, warmth radiated from the column. At first, Pug assumed that the crystal was radiating heat reflected from the alien sun, but even on the side away from the glare, the pillar seemed equally warm. I may do little for you, a feminine voice asked quietly in his mind. This much and no more. Suddenly the sensation of heat grew, washed out from the pillar like a warm breeze, shifting the sand beneath their feet and pressing out in the deserts beyond. In a brief second, the wind was gone, leaving the pillar cold and quiet. Yep, the party's defense ability has gone up. So Pug's defense is now at 55. Gorath's defense is now, or Owen's defense is now 100, and Gorath's defense is 93, which ain't shabby. And we can go ahead and put ourselves back at our main stats because everything else that's beneficial will not cause alter our stats, but alter other things. The pillar was made of crystal. In better condition than the others in the circle, its reflective surface was not as pitted by the blast of the sands as the others had been. Stroking its surface, Pug marveled at the amount of work it must have taken the craftsman to make. "I wonder what this place was originally," Pug asked, not expecting the mental reply to flood his senses. "You stand in the ruins of Karzeen Maluk, once the high temple of the 7 gods of Tirmiyana. Once these columns were only symbols of the gods, crafted by Savane artisans who were the servants of Datsavan. Now they are the vessels in which we have taken refuge." "Refuge? What drives a god into refuge?" Pug asked. "I wouldn't think it possible." "Valheru," the voice said, though without a true voice it was impossible for Pug to tell, but there were shadings within it that were a mixture of hate and sorrow. "Those who were known as the Valheru extinguished all life as we knew it here, using this as a battleground where they warred with all who dared challenge their universal supremacy. Only when Datsavan showed to us that our struggles would be futile did we create a plan by which we could drive out the hordes of Pantafians and Kada and Zikmati." "What did you do?" Pug asked. A long silence greeted him. With a distant reply came to him. "Of the 7 who ruled, there are only 6 of us who survived the desolation. 2 have faded so far from the world they can no longer give voice to their thoughts, but are instead little more than sentient forces of nature. Only Datsavan will remain, waiting for the time of the awakening. He shall call us when the need has come. We shall not speak again, Savane." So no bonus from this one, but we do get some information at least. And it's getting dark, so we'll go ahead and... Okay, so there's the 5 columns. We do not want to touch the 4th or the back one, which just leaves this one here. There was something odd about the column. Removing his hand, Pug struggled to find the words for what he was feeling. "You know how it is when someone is standing behind you, and you know that they are standing there even though you haven't heard them come up?" Smiling faintly, Gara shrugged. "It is a sensation I have heard of, but I am afraid it is an experience almost unknown with my kin." Reaching up, he tugged at one of his ears. "There is very little that escapes our hearing." "Oh." Looking down at the ground, Owen suddenly flushed, realizing how very little he truly knew about Goraf or his people. One day he would make a point of getting to know him better. "Well, I don't know how to explain what I felt in the pillar, except that it felt alive, like there was a presence within it, if only I knew how to reach it." That would be one of the gods that cannot be reached. And Pug did say not to touch the middle column. But actually this one, energy blasted from the column. Dazed, Owen picked himself up from where he had fallen in the sand, reaching for a hand up from Goraf. "There was this presence that was in the column. When I touched, I felt as if I would kill every single Peneftian on the face of this world, as if I could have strangled them all barehanded, and then the feeling was gone." "It is strange that you had mentioned my feeling suddenly vigorous myself. But what are these Peneftian?" Goraf replied. "It is an unfamiliar term. The snakemen that we've run into. I'm not sure why I know that, but I know that's what they're called on this world." The party's strength ability has increased, so now Pug has a strength of 22, Owen has a strength of 176, and Goraf is just under 194. Now you can see why I held back on trying to max my strength as much as possible. Well, we've explored most of the island. We've explored most of the south, most of the west. Seek the old hordes of the Valheru? I do not understand. I gather you do understand how this place was not always as it is now. At some point after Gamina is safe, please inquire further. As for now, it is enough to know that when the Valheru left this land, they left behind something else as well. Whatever it is, it would be buried like their ruins. For it to have remained intact for so many years, it must have been protected by some sort of magical defense, perhaps one produced by the Pillars. Goraf and I have never come across any such defenses here. In my search, I was able to cover all but the southern end of the island. We should start there. We have searched the southeast end of the island, which leaves only... Prepare yourselves. We journey to the southwest. Winter is coming. Nah, not really, but... Yeah, that is to... in case we haven't explored the whole island, that is to tell us which way to go, and... I swear the most tedious parts of his combat is waiting for them to wind up their slings. Let's see, are we close to the southwest corner? Yep. We've been this way before, it looks like. Yeah, this is where we beam down. And yeah, scouting ability increased. And yeah, it's a bit further than we wanted to come, but thankfully... And yes, another staff, some rations, some restoratives, and a spell we don't have yet. You know, Valheru armor. Lustrous as no armor should be, it was unthinkable the suit had ever been in battle. Impossibly light, the breastplate was forged of material that seemed like white gold, but was harder than any steel Owen had ever encountered. And it's made for elves, but we'll let Pug have it. And even though we are well equipped at this point... Where did the spell scroll go? Okay, that's a little worrying because... Well, let's see if this does it. Okay. Yeah, somehow it is in our inventory now as Life Drain. It, in the original game, it was called Strength Drain. So I guess they must have changed that much to make it clear exactly what you're supposed to do with that spell. And just make sure that Pug has it as well. Yes, he has it. Well. And looks like Pug did remember a spell that time. I'm recalling incantation now. Let's see, what spell do we get? Okay, so we've got Life Drain, Firestorm. That was the one I was trying to remember. So let's go ahead and exit out, check our spell inventory. And yeah, I think there's 2 there that we don't have. Have everything there. But yeah, I think at this point we have almost every spell in the game for Pug and Owen. So we will go ahead and close this chapter out here. And next time we will go and rescue Gamina. We will see you then.